Support for the Lancast is provided by Winey Way Books and Pennsylvania College of Art and Design.
Welcome to the Lancast. I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Slesser. This episode we spoke via Skype with Jack Lewars, the director of the movie Mountjoy.
Jack enlightens us in some of the reasoning behind why they chose Mountjoy for the location of this movie.
It actually works into a kind of a reveal at the end of the film based on the address of where the lead actor lives. And, you know, the kind of trick is, I don't know if you guys... I got the trick from the Anarchist Cookbook. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but there is a section in it where it tells you how to send letters for free. So, and that kind of wraps it all back in, and it has to do with the Mountjoy address.
Certainly a lot of interesting things can happen while filming a movie, and Jack shares some of the more humorous events.
We shot for 4 weeks, and the last day we were leaving, we were exhausted and we were packed, and everybody had only slept for 5 hours, so we're trying to check all the equipment out. We stayed at the Travel Lodge, and so we had our whole crew there, and everybody's exhausted. So we're pulling our camera truck out of the Travel Lodge, and it has kind of an overhang that connects it, and our truck just smashes into the roof. You know, the overhang. And this was our last minute. We're finally, everything's done, and I'm falling asleep in the car already, and then suddenly it's like the truck is wrecked. We destroyed the Travel Lodge. And so we had to get out for the next couple of hours and deal with the police that had to come. And...
Enjoy the conversation. Well, Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You are the director of the movie Mountjoy. And before we get into the movie, what it's about, I'm just curious as to, are you from the area? Because we're currently Skyping with you in New York, so...
That's correct. I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in Mountjoy, on the outskirts of Mountjoy. And I moved, after I graduated college in '99, to California. So I am from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Now, USA Today just said that this is the best place to live, so do you regret moving?
I do kind of regret it, yeah. I've been seeing all my friends posting on Facebook about how awesome it still is there, and everybody that wanted to leave and didn't is now proud, so...
Proud that they just didn't make it. So you said you moved to California, and you're in New York now. What took you to California?
I was moved out there to make films and to pretty much learn the business. I graduated Penn State, then moved out there, lived there for 10 years, got married. I became a digital colorist at Deluxe Entertainment, and they opened up a facility in New York, so I moved back to be closer to home. And my wife is also from New Jersey, so I came out here, and I've been color timing feature films ever since. So
Great. Well, let's dig into this movie. Can you give us a little bit about the synopsis behind Mountjoy?
Yeah. Mountjoy essentially derives from a lot of childhood experiences and friends that I've had there. It's about a group of friends growing up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Some of the friends are involved in a band organizing a cross-country dive bar tour. The movie opens up on the day the band is supposed to leave for that tour, but the lead singer's girlfriend ends up breaking his heart, and so they're kind of stuck there, trying to convince him to go and whatnot. So that's kind of where the story opens up, and it's about, just a local punk rock band in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, fire hall shows and whatnot.
Were you ever part of a band when you were around here? How did you get involved in this kind of culture?
I was not part of any bands, but I did go to a lot of the shows and stuff, high school, all age shows, Chameleon Club, that kind of thing all the time. So that was part of my interest, and that's what influenced me heavily growing up there.
So the actors in the movie, where do they come from? Are they from this area, or do they?
A few of the actors in the movie are from Pennsylvania, but most of them come from New York. We did a lot of casting here, and then we're like, oh, it'd be great to go to Lancaster and to Philadelphia to try to do some casting. We went there, we held some auditions and stuff, but we just didn't find the talent we were looking for.
So that would be why the people in the movie seem a lot cooler than most of the people I know in Mountjoy.
I don't know, people in Mountjoy are pretty cool, but they can't Yeah. So, what's that poster behind you guys?
Was it?
It's Neil Patrick Harris on a unicorn.
It's beautiful. I was admiring it.
It says, "What would MPH do?" It's pretty much my prize collection.
Yep.
When looking for characters to be in the film, like what kind of jobs and stuff like really stood out to being from this area that you could have these young guys working in, or other than the band part of stuff?
Oh yeah, our lead guy works. He's our lead talent in the film. His name's Jay Delaval, and they work at Goods Disposal. They're trashmen. So I don't know if you know Goods in Ephrata.
Yeah.
But they provided us their entire facility, gave us trucks, everything. So we were able to use their garbage truck fleet and their recycling center and everything to shoot. So our two main actors work there, and our characters.
Which is why our trash hasn't been picked up in weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. Taking up their whole fleet.
I was going to say, did they get you to actually take care of some of the trash while you were filming?
You're out. You might as well pick some stuff up.
While you guys are filming, you mind? It's just
Exactly.
cheap labor,
Yeah, we did do a couple of rounds for about 4 days, just to really get into the spirit of trashmen.
Right.
So they try to get product placement in there, like the trash bags and.
Exactly. Well, we use their uniforms, and all their trucks have the big hippo on the side with goods. So that's in the film as well. Well worth it.
So what about the other characters? Is there anything else really Lancaster County or Mount Joy that these characters are really based in?
There's no Amish furniture builders or anything like that. We're trying to get
nobody making those Amish heaters.
It's pretty much the only job in the movie is trash man. I guess there's a bowling alley, a waitress at a bowling alley, but I'm trying to think nothing else there's no farmers or I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Is the bowling alley specific? Was it filmed here, or was it just a random bowling alley?
Clearview Lanes?
It was actually, we were trying to do a Clearview, but it ends up being Canes Lanes. Do you know where that is? It's over.
I've heard the name
it's in Milledgeville area. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know where it is. I've only ever been to Clearview Lanes, and then what's the other one up in Columbia? I don't
What's
know.
the one down the road from here? Leisure
Lanes.
Lanes.
Leisure Lanes is the other one I was thinking. Those are the only two bowling alleys I've ever been in.
Funny story too. When we were picking out the bowling alley, we came down, and the first one we were doing was the Columbia bowling alley. Mm-hmm. When we came to scout, we went to all the different bowling alleys, and a lot of them you can't have alcohol in, and certain, just based on who owns them, you couldn't do a lot of things. And so we finally got the Columbia Bowling Alley to agree, and we were there scouting it. We went down and took a bunch of photographs of it. And that Sunday we came back to New York, and everybody's texting me being like, "Oh, sorry, you lost your location. Oh, man, that sucks." Yeah. And the day after we had left, the Columbia Bowling Alley had burned to the ground. We were just like, what is going on? It's completely crazy. And then another one happened, I guess, over in Strasbourg the next weekend.
Yeah.
Bowling alley.
I was just going to say, I thought they burned down.
It's a coincidence that you scouted these places out and then they started burning down.
I know.
I don't want to connect any dots or anything.
I think somebody didn't want you to make the movie.
So what's it like coming back to the area to film? I mean, being a native and then being all of a sudden back here in your home area.
It was crazy because, I did come back to visit on occasion, but it's always just to see my folks or, the same friends. But coming back for a month, we ran into a bunch of people that I hadn't seen for a long time. And some people I didn't even recognize, which was very odd. So it was kind of like memories rushing back and, certain people that I hated, running into them again, and certain people I loved. And, it was just kind of all kinds of the gambit of emotions. Yeah.
Did you still hate them?
Yeah, some I did. It was just because it was like I so horribly in high school. So then to see them again and then to remember, oh, you were that guy.
Yeah.
I still do hate you. Yes.
Did it interfere with anything, buddy? Did you get tired of it at some point? Where you're like, I just want to, get my work done and get out of here.
There was we shot for 4 weeks, and the last day we were leaving, we were exhausted and we were packed, and everybody had only slept for 5 hours, so we're trying to like check all the equipment out. We stayed at the Travel Lodge over on Columbia Avenue. Yeah, on Columbia Avenue. And so we had our whole crew there, and everybody's exhausted. So we're pulling our camera truck out of the Travel Lodge, and it has kind of an overhang that connects it. And our truck just smashes into the roof. Pretty much the entire the overhang. And this was our last minutes. We're finally, everything's done. And I'm falling asleep in the car already, and then suddenly it's like the truck is wrecked. We destroyed the Travel Lodge. And so we had to get out for the next couple of hours and deal with the police that had to come. And that's the only point I was truly ready to be done. Other than that, it was a fantastic experience. It was my first time directing, so I loved every second of it.
It's awesome. Get to come back, see people you hate, destroy the Travel Lodge.
burn down a couple bowling alleys. I'm surprised that you stayed around for the Travel Lodge, but not to take credit for the bowling alleys.
It's funny because the day, like a couple hours right before that, there was I don't know if you guys ever know that Travel Lodge, but right across the street there's like a animal clinic or something, and they always have this like red trailer parked right there, and it's actually a flight simulator that's encased in this weird tractor trailer that's just sitting there. And so a couple hours before that happened, we're all packing up. We had one of our PAs. We're like, oh, we need to drive this car back and, put it in its garage. And we're like, can you handle this? It was 1987 AMC station wagon Eagle was one of our cars. You know, it's like a first 4-wheel drive station wagon. Can supposedly go through anything. So our PA drives it out onto Columbia Avenue, and it stalls, and there's a bunch of traffic building up behind him. So he panics. He gets out of the car and tries to push it. The car gets momentum. The door slams shut on him and smashes right into the flight simulator across from the Travel Lodge. We thought, okay, that was it. Then the Travel Lodge got destroyed. Yeah.
I think I remember that day happening. I think I was in that traffic.
We both live really close. Like that's just like a mile from my house, maybe. So.
Maybe you guys know this. Do they ever open that flight simulator for people to enjoy?
I didn't even know there was a flight simulator
no,
there.
I have seen it.
You know more about Lancaster than I do, and I live here. So. I didn't even know it was a great place to live.
I have seen it moved, but I've never actually seen it open. So they must take it to fairs or something.
That's probably what they
should just open it right there, in my opinion. I would go.
Yeah, well, my dentist is in the building that they park it in front of, and like I've always come out of my dentist being like, I could totally go for a flight simulation.
My mouth is so numb. I could totally fly a plane. Right, that's great.
Let's talk about this being your first time directing. How did you get yourself in this? Did you write the script as well?
Mark Mena, a guy who also grew up in Farmdale, wrote the script. But him and I shared a lot of the same experiences. So we kind of came up with a story together, and which was great. And yeah, I mean, being my first time director, I had made a documentary film before this called Alligator Run, which my friend and I. This is when I was living in California. My friend had a hatchling alligator, out of an egg. He used to work at a Petco, and somebody came in and said, oh, I had this alligator, and he's like, oh, we'll take care of it. So he ended up taking it home with him and started raising it, and he raised it to 5.5 feet in a running water pond in his garage. Then my friend, this is years and years, then my friend ended up having a girlfriend. He had a baby, so he couldn't keep the alligator anymore. It was becoming very vicious and angry, so we put it in a duffel bag in Hollywood, California, and drove it to the swamps of Gainesville, Florida, and released it into protected land. But along the way, we did a bunch of pranks and stuff with it, so.
Like how to eat some children. Hey, alligator just bit your kid's leg off.
Yeah, I don't have a leg anymore. Surprise! That sounds highly illegal. I can't believe that.
I believe it was, but it made for a good film.
You had to burn the film then, right? So,
very different than a narrative film, because that was just kind of hope for the best,
Yeah.
Throw in a theater and go.
As far as the storyline, when you came up with the storyline, the band that's the people that characters are in, That name sounds so familiar. Is it a real band, or was there a real band named that at one point, or?
It's actually the Living Daylights is who's the guy that the movie is based off of? It's a Clint Eastwood movie, right? It's I think it's a horrible Clint Eastwood movie title. Well, it's called.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, exactly. But I mentioned it to some other people, and they had told me that it was one of the worst movies they had seen. So, yeah, it was a Clint Eastwood, but. Yeah, I can't remember.
Earlier I had David totally believing I dated one of the girls in the movie. He's like, I don't think they're from Lancaster. I was like, no, I totally dated the main girl in that movie. She was my girlfriend. And he's like, really?
I don't think that's very funny because that's my wife.
I thought that was your wife too. That's why when he was saying that, I was like, I don't. Huh?
I totally had him believing me though. Good. Yeah, I've only dated like one girl, but and I'm married to her now. So
there's a documentary for you, Jack.
Right there, documentary.
The dating life of Keith Slesser.
Keith Slesser should be about me. Make me famous. Well, we're gonna go to break now, and afterwards, more with Jack.
Hey everybody, we're here at Penn Cinema to find out what everyone's been talking about. Excuse me, why do you choose Penn Cinema?
I like the seats. They're really comfy. They're a lot nicer than most other places. Here's my house.
Oh, this place is great. I mean, it's popcorn. Got some, we got a slushy machine over there. We got 3 clocks. 3 clocks for the Lidditz, the Lancaster, and the F at a time, just in case, you don't know what time it is in your area. That's why I love this place. They think about everybody, very friendly.
Has a nicer environment.
It's clean and comfortable. It feels independent. It doesn't feel like part of a system. Like, it feels like as big as it is and as polished as it is, that it feels independent,
Bigger screen, better quality.
So it's really close. It's very clean. We come here all the time.
What do you like about Penn Cinema?
The seats are my favorite thing. Very comfortable on the rump.
3D IMAX, the whole shebang.
It has a down-home feel, and we love the atmosphere that Penn has created. He really tries to take into account what people want in a theater.
It's really clean, and the seats are really comfy.
Yeah, I like the seats. It's the best movie theater to come to.
Well, you've heard what they have to say. Now come see for yourself. Check out Penn Cinema for first-class movies in a first-rate theater. Located at 541 Airport Road in Lidditz, PA. And we're back on the Lancast with Jack Lewars. Jack, we were talking about how Keith thought he dated your wife there for a little bit before we went to break. Another dispute we were having before we Skyped in with you was Keith is convinced he's seen the trailer on TV. Is the trailer on TV?
The trailer might have been on local news, but that's a possibility. Definitely, we were definitely playing pieces of the trailer on Lori Burkholder, Channel 8, I guess, and some others. I can't remember. Marietta Fox, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
While we were there, they were just kind of taking clips of what we had and, helping us get extras during the shoot.
You win this one, Keith.
I win this one. 1 for 2. That's not bad.
Yeah. Who usually wins?
I do.
I don't remember.
I pretty much always cheat, though.
You're like calling people beforehand.
Yeah. They always say cheaters never prosper, but I'm telling you what, I'm doing pretty damn good.
Let's talk about making the trailer for the movie. I mean, you're still filming at this point, right?
We've shot for 26 days. And we are finished filming for the most part. We have to come back for 5 days, and we will be back at the end of April, just to do pickups and things we missed the first time around.
All right. Well, your film is still in the production stage, obviously. So how easy is it to make a trailer for something that's not finished?
It's very easy because it is 99% finished. We have everything according to the script shot. Now we've come back and we've been editing for the last 4.5 months, and we're realizing that we need some scenes that weren't in the script. So now we're writing those scenes and in the process of coming back to pick those additional scenes up. So we pretty much do have everything especially to make the trailer in the can. We actually do have a rough version of the film complete right now as well. So.
No, I don't have anything. I'm still basking in the fact that I won an argument. It doesn't happen at home ever.
This is going to sustain him for weeks.
Yeah.
Definitely one of our biggest accomplishments with doing the movie also is we had to build a barn over in
Willow Street.
In Willow Street.
You built a barn?
We built a barn. It was like right before the hurricane came through. I don't know if you guys remember that weekend. Where nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. So we had built a barn on some farmland, and we were planning on burning it down. We were worried that the hurricane was going to knock it down before we had a chance to set fire to it. And, so it actually did. Willow Street Fire Company came out, and we built the barn, and then they came out and torched it for us, which was fantastic. I consider that a great accomplishment in itself. So definitely one of the most fun nights of my entire life.
That's got to be the best line I've ever heard. So we were afraid the hurricane was going to knock the barn down before we could burn it down. That's totally my new Facebook update.
How big was this barn?
How big was it? It was 3 stories high. We pretty much just did. We shot the exterior there in Willow Street, and then we shot the interiors at another farm, Tom Colton's farm in Silver Spring. He's an organic farmer there, so he opened up his barn to us. And there's did you see your girlfriend walking?
Yeah, sorry. Hey, babe. Remember me?
Things just got really weird.
So yeah, no, it's fantastic. But it was actual size barn, but it was just a facade, the outside.
Okay.
So none of the internals were built.
How long did it take to burn down? Well, I guess you had a lot of practice with the bowling alleys, right? So
that's why they burned the bowling alleys down.
We want to know how long it's going to
take. Yeah, we did test a lot with the bowling alleys, but it went faster than we thought. We were hoping to get like a good 30 minutes out of it, but as soon as they lit it on fire, it went down in like just over 20 minutes. But it was great.
Should have had them wet it down first. Right?
Yeah, the hurricane did that for us. So.
Oh yeah, the hurricane. Then.
Yeah. I mean, just on a logistics outlook, that seems like a really difficult, time-consuming thing to do, because now you got to build the barn, then you got to get the fire company there to burn it down. But then, what about the rubble? That was, I'm assuming, your responsibility?
Yeah. Well, what ended up happening was the whole process. It was crazy because we were talking to builders there, and apparently a guy we ran into at the Mountville Inn was knew of somebody's barn that had just blown over from a windstorm. And there he was been hired to actually go take the barn apart and salvage the wood. So the wood that wasn't salvageable, he brought over to build our barn with. So actually, it was just a bunch of coincidences that happened right in a row, and a lot of family there helping us. And the barn went up in 4 days. We were worried it wasn't going to happen. The guy was like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." We were like, "Okay, well, nothing's happening. And then we went back 4 days later. It was done. We were like, okay, great.
Sweet. What's the builder's name?
We were raised in a barn. You're in the land of the Amish. I thought you could have got it up better than 4 days.
Yeah, no, seriously.
We thought we actually went to some Amish builders, and they're quite expensive. We were surprised. It's a lot more expensive to have the Amish build your barn. But,
well, it's all those power tools they use.
And the electric heaters they build.
According
to the magazine. So what's your plan once the film's finished?
The plan once the film is finished is we have, through the place I work now, we have a lot of contacts at South by Southwest and Sundance. So we will be submitting there and hopefully going to Sundance 2013. And then from there, we made the film on a low budget, which is great. So it will not take a lot for us to get what we need to be profitable back, to go on and make the second one. which we're excited about. I working at Deluxe too. They used to be owned by Panavision, so I was very grateful in the fact that Panavision's kind of opened its doors to us and let us use their camera equipment and lights and stuff like that. Which was just amazing. We couldn't have done it without that as well. So
there is a sequel in the works.
Yes. I mean, where there is definitely movies in the works. I don't know if it will be back in Lancaster for the second one though.
No, so you're not planning like, Allentown, or well, I guess it's not Lancaster, but you're not playing Mannheim or then
once we shot the movie.
There's already is in Elizabethtown, so you may as well jump on the coattails. See if you can get Orlando Bloom. I hear he's free.
But it's funny, after we finished shooting the movie, we came back and we were working on the trailer, and somebody from Lancaster, emailed me and said, "Oh, you got to check out this other movie. It was called Lebanon, Pennsylvania." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "I don't really know that movie, but I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's fine."
I think you should do Intercourse.
The blue balls. That's what everybody was saying.
I hear Nicolas Cage is probably available and will do almost anything.
So, what made you choose Mountjoy as the title of the film? I mean, I know it's based in Mountjoy, but
it actually works into a kind of a reveal at the end of the film, based on the address of where the lead actor lives. And the kind of trick is, I don't know if you guys. I got the trick from the Anarchist Cookbook. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but there is a section in it where it tells you how to send letters for free. It's like reverse mail. Essentially, you put the recipient's address in the return and vice versa, who's sending it in the to, and you don't put a stamp on it. That way, when you put it in the mailbox, it comes back. It goes essentially to the person, and you get free mail, because it gets returned to the sender. So, and that kind of wraps it all back in, and it has to do with the Mountjoy address.
Oh, all right. You're giving up a lot of secrets. You read the Anarchy Cookbook. You freed alligators into the wild after raising them, which is probably
after raising them and playing pranks by having them eat people's children.
Yeah, burned down buildings,
crashed into motels.
Seriously. Wow.
Met people he hated.
We're just gonna send this right to the police.
Yeah, that mail thing's pretty good. I might use that.
We were curious if it was going to work, and he lives in Philadelphia. We been working over email. He's like, what? Why don't you try to send me a letter like that? And I did, and it made it to him. So it was fantastic.
Wow, I'm surprised that when you dropped it, they didn't think, "Oh, this is in New York." Like, obviously. Like, how did it get this far?
They don't check. They literally just grab it out of the box, throw it, and it goes into a mass place somewhere where it gets sorted. They're like, "Oh, they forgot postage. It goes to return to sender or something." Yeah. I'm sure they're like checking every letter at the mailbox. That'd be horrible.
I've met a lot of the people in there, and they really don't care.
They don't really care at all.
They're just like, I don't give a shit. All right, it's Mountjoy 2, and then there's E-Town, and then, of course, there is the documentary on Keith Slesser, The Amazing Special K. So,
I'd like to see that one.
Yeah, that's I'm telling you, blockbuster hit. Stardom immediately for anybody who's involved. What's next for you?
What's next is we have to finish editing, and then off to the festival circuit, and then we just go. Once we kind of get the festival thing out of the way, we're in the process right now of getting scripts, and we're just constantly reading whenever we have the opportunity to try to find that next gem to go into pre-production on the next film. So if anybody has any scripts they'd like to submit, we'd love to read them.
Sure. I have a script. Yeah, it's a good script.
Is it for Keith Slesser, the documentary?
No. It's about Keith Slesser. He's a young boy, age 13. He's a wizard and doesn't realize he's a wizard. and then he gets picked up and taken to this school called Hogwarts.
All right. And he rides a unicorn.
Yeah, he rides a unicorn.
So do you see yourself sticking with the directorial role, or are you going to explore other aspects?
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, I definitely think I'm going to stick with directing. I realized after doing this that a lot of that does have a lot to do with just producing. Just the fact of bringing all the elements together just from like day one is just extremely time consuming and extremely painful. And I think, but it does come with great rewards at the end. So I would definitely be sticking to the directing / producing side of things. Some scripts I read right now are just impossible for us to do. They might be good because of, just the content and the story, but, the budget wise, we're not at the level where we could produce a movie for, millions of dollars, where we could definitely get the people that could do that. So producing and directing kind of go hand in hand. So just a matter of, putting people in touch and hoping for the best.
And your wife / Keith's girlfriend is in the movie, so she gets close with some people. How did you deal with directing that kind of interaction?
Well, at first I thought, we were going into the project that I was going to be cool with it and everything was going to be fine. A couple of times on set I did get a little angry and, a little, jealousy did strike once in a while. So, but, that happens.
Yeah, I know.
You went through the same thing, Keith, when it was happening?
Yeah.
Everything remains professional.
He's always kissing trash men when I was not looking. So, do you have any other crazy stories during filming, after filming, crazier than destroying the travel lodge?
Trying to think. We didn't have any. I mean, that was the craziest. Also, there was a night where we were shooting over in Millersville, and we had a bunch of lights. I can't remember the road that's over there. What are they off of? Matt and Alana?
LaTorte.
Off of LaTorte Road in Millersville. And I guess they get a lot of traffic going there. So we had cones, and we were kind of blocking the road because we didn't realize how much traffic would be in front of the house. But we didn't really have any police that were there, giving us permission to do this. So we had kind of like cones blocking up the road, and we had major lines of traffic going in either direction. And eventually the cops did come, but they were more interested in about the movie and possibly getting in than they were about us blocking traffic at all. So quite a fantastic experience. Actually ended up through that connection letting us shoot the cells downtown. So it worked out nicely. Having to call cops on us was a positive experience.
People are still in their house pissed off. What the hell are they doing? They're just talking to them. Now they're in the movie.
Well, Jack, once again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We've had a great time talking with you, laughing a bit. People want to learn more about Mountjoy, the movie, and you specifically. How can they do that?
MountJoyMovie.com. And they can watch the trailer, check it out. They can email questions. If they want to be part of the, coming back at the end of April, we're definitely going to need some extras and people helping out and things like that. If anybody's interested, they can also reach us through the website as well, MountJoyMovie.com. So, and thanks, you guys are awesome. I appreciate being part of the show.
We're just waiting for you to call us in for those callbacks when the band goes on a podcast during the tour.
Yeah,
we'll wait for your call.
Wait for your call. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, Keith Slesser, Special K. It's a great movie. Okay. We hope you've been enjoying the Lancast.
This episode was produced by myself, David Moulton, with show notes by Keith and Lauren Slesser.
All pertinent links to this episode can be found in the show notes at thelancast.com.
If you specifically liked this episode, we ask that you consider making a donation.
Every little bit helps. Even $1 a show can keep us going.
If you'd like to help support us, you can do so by going to thelancast.com/donate.
And don't forget to subscribe in iTunes and tell a friend about the show.
So for the Lancast, I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Slesser.
Asking, are you in the cast?